It's hard not to feel a sense of wonder when you interact with generative AI. I mean, whether you've seen it conjure up a poem from just a few words, or describe some fantastical image it then draws right in front of you, or maybe even help you write complex code. There's this feeling, isn't there? Something almost magical. It really does feel like actual creation.
It absolutely does inspire wonder, yeah. And that's actually a good place to start. But let's maybe get this out right away. Generative AI isn't actually magic. It's really the result of decades of intense work, math, science, engineering. So today we're going to do a deep dive into this, specifically for business. Pull back that curtain a bit, understand its real power.
And to do that, we're drawing on insights directly from people right there on the front lines. Our sources here include IBM's chief technology officers, senior vice presidents, global managing partners, top researchers. These are the folks actually shaping this stuff right now.
Yeah, exactly. And our mission today, really, is to equip you with a clear understanding. What is generative AI truly? How's it transforming industries already? And, this is critical, what are the factors for using it successfully and responsibly? Because this isn't just some, fascinating new toy. It's quickly becoming a new business imperative. It's going to touch pretty much everything we do.
Okay, so let's go back to that feeling, that magic feeling. For someone watching AI evolve over the years, what were the real game changers? Was it like one big eureka moment, or more things coming together gradually that let it leap from, science fiction to practical business reality?
It's definitely more of a convergence, yeah. But with some really pivotal breakthroughs along the way. I mean, people have been theorizing about machines that could think for ages. Alan Turing's 1950 paper, for instance, talked about computers playing chess, understanding language. Then you had the Big Bang of AI, that Dartmouth workshop in 1956. That's where they coined the term artificial intelligence itself. They laid out challenges back then, neural networks, self-learning, that honestly we're still tackling today. But generative AI only became truly practical, well, pretty recently. And it's down to this powerful convergence of three key ingredients. First, just raw, powerful hardware. Think about it. Back in '56, the transistor had just won the Nobel Prize. Now, we've got GPUs crammed with hundreds of billions of transistors linked together. It's driven compute and storage costs way, way down. Second, really clever algorithms. A huge breakthrough came around, say, 2017 with an architecture called transformers. What made them revolutionary was this attention mechanism. It let models figure out which parts of the input data were most important, so they got much better at understanding context, especially over long sequences. And that paved the way for self-supervised learning. This was big. Models could learn from enormous amounts of unlabeled data. Basically, you mask parts of the data, ask the model to fill in the blanks. No need for humans to label everything anymore. Big shift from supervised learning. And third, maybe the most obvious one, massive data. Just the sheer volume of text and other data available, especially from the internet, was absolutely essential for training these huge models.
Right, that attention mechanism, that sounds like a genuine leap. And that brings us to the heart of this current wave, doesn't it? Large language models, LLMs, and this idea of foundation models. How do they change the game for businesses, fundamentally?
Well, LLMs, they represent language in a completely new way, in this sort of high-dimensional space. They find these incredibly complex patterns, predict the likelihood of word sequences, and that lets them generate something new. Text, images, sound, code. It's a step beyond just classifying or predicting. And LLMs are a great example of what we now call foundation models. These are basically large-scale neural networks trained using that self-supervision method on massive unlabeled data sets. The real key here, their versatility. We've kind of moved from one task, one model, to one model, many tasks. Think about it. A single foundation model could potentially power your chatbots, handle HR questions, draft marketing emails, summarize legal docs. Their power is that they're so generalizable, so adaptable across a huge range of different jobs.
Okay, that one model, many tasks idea. It really makes that phrase, everything starts looking like a language, click into place. So we're not just talking about English or French here.
Precisely.
Yeah,
if you sort of squint a bit, signals from industrial machines. That can be a language telling you something. User clicks on a website. That's a language. Software code itself is definitely a language. Even chemistry, the way we draw molecules. AI can learn to read and understand all of these. And that's why Gen AI can stretch right across a business, boosting productivity, creating value in areas you might not expect, way beyond just writing text.
Okay, so we've unpacked the what. It's clearly more than just hype. But, like one of our sources said, a lot of companies seem stuck in experimentation and exploration. They're playing with it, but how do businesses move beyond that? How do they strategically adopt it to create real value, not just, cool demos?
Yeah, that's the key question. Successfully adopting AI at scale, it really needs what you might call an AI-first mindset.
Mm.
There's that famous quote, maybe apocryphal, attributed to Henry Ford. If I'd asked people what they wanted, they'd have said faster horses. Whether he actually said it or not, the point is valid. Most people think incrementally. Real transformation comes from visionary thinking, imagining completely new ways to solve problems. And that's the challenge and the opportunity with Gen AI. It's not just about doing old things faster. It's about fundamentally rethinking how business gets done.
Right. So when we talk about scaling AI, what does that actually look like for a company? Practically speaking, beyond just those faster horses.
We see a few critical areas emerging. First, productivity. Gen AI can unleash creativity, break down silos, amplify what every single person can do by augmenting their roles, their workflows. Second, customer engagement, making interactions much more personal, frictionless, anticipating needs, delivering on them. Third, and this is where it gets really interesting, I think, new revenue streams. It's not just efficiency. It's about making hyper-personalization scalable for maybe the first time ever. Imagine creating truly bespoke products or services for every single customer at a cost that was just impossible before. Shifting from mass production to, mass customization on demand. That's transformative. Fourth, IT optimization, just improving how IT solutions are built, how they operate. And finally, maybe one of the biggest impacts long-term, democratizing IT, putting the power to build solutions into more hands, especially coding, helping everyone code better, faster, smarter.
Wow, that idea of mass customization on demand, that's definitely visionary stuff, but it also brings up a really important caution. Generative AI isn't always the answer, right? You can't just sprinkle Gen AI dust on everything.
Absolutely not. No. Businesses really need to resist that temptation. For instance, if you need a precise financial forecast or you're solving a complex optimization problem, generative AI probably isn't the right tool. In fact, existing machine learning or even traditional AI techniques often do those jobs better, more cost-effectively, with less complexity. It's crucial to have that tech-to-problem mindset. Find the right tool for the specific job. And also, problem to tech. Look at where your existing AI investments could be applied before jumping to the new shiny thing. Thinking like that optimizes your total cost of ownership. Make sure you get the best return.
I appreciate that, the tech-to-problem focus. Resisting the hype seems key. So once a company has that mindset, how do they practically figure out where Gen AI really fits and where maybe older methods are still the better choice?
Okay, so you need to ask yourself about 4 key things. First, the needs. Is Gen AI genuinely necessary here? Or can existing tech handle it well, maybe cheaper? Second, capabilities. Do we actually have the right skills internally to build and manage this thing properly? Third, integration. If we bring this in, how does it play nicely with everything else we already have, our existing IT stack? And fourth, skills again, but maybe broader. Do we have the right mix of people? Data scientists, engineers, sure, but also domain experts who understand the business context. I like to think of choosing AI models like planting a garden. You wouldn't just plant carrots, right? You need variety. You need a multi-model approach for different tasks. Some models are big and powerful, others are smaller, faster, cheaper. So the process is kind of like research what's out there: size, performance, cost, risks. Maybe test a big model first to see what's possible. Then see if you can get similar results with a smaller, more optimized model for that specific job. And it's not a one-off thing. It's like tending the garden. You're constantly evaluating, updating data, tweaking prompts, trying new models as they come out. Continuous care.
That multi-model garden analogy really works. It makes the strategy clear. It also sounds like, a lot of groundwork is needed on the infrastructure and data side of things first. Where do these sophisticated models actually live, and what do they eat?
Well, yeah, that's often the hidden challenge. Too often, AI models are trying to live and eat in what some of us call a Franken cloud. It's this common issue where companies have ended up with a really messy, sort of accidental hybrid cloud setup, resulting from, random acts of cloud usage over the years. Maybe some stuff on-prem, some in one public cloud, some in another, but no real coherence, no intentional design. And that inevitably creates data silos, drives up costs, increases security risks. It just makes everything in IT way more complicated. It can feel like playing hide and seek with your own data and models sometimes. You really don't want to spend months just trying to figure out different IT environments and battling disconnected data governance systems before you can even get to the data you need for AI. Because, and I really can't stress this enough, there is no AI without data. That's the fuel. So the better solution, the robust solution, is an infrastructure strategy that's hybrid by design. That means making intentional choices about your architecture, unifying IT functions, tools, data sources, platform systems right from the start. You want consistent access, consistent sharing of data applications policies, whether it's on-prem, private cloud, public cloud, even out at the edge. This approach gives you rapid scalability, it's more cost-effective, and you get the best of both worlds. Cloud agility and the security and resilience you expect from on-prem.
Okay, that makes perfect sense for the infrastructure, the where it lives. But you keep coming back to data, calling it the most important ingredient. In a world where pretty much everyone can access similar Gen AI models, why is data seen as the only sustainable source of competitive advantage?
Because while, yeah, the models themselves might become somewhat commoditized, your data is unique. The real competitive edge comes from how you customize or tune those general models with your specific proprietary enterprise data. That's what unlocks insights and capabilities your competitors just can't replicate because they don't have your data. That's the secret sauce.
That's a really crucial point, the differentiator. And can Gen AI itself actually help with untangling that data mess we talked about, like dealing with the Frankencloud data situation?
Yes, absolutely. That's one of its superpowers, actually. Generative AI is much better at handling unstructured data, which, by the way, is most of the new data being created. It can dive into huge amounts of text, documents, even software code, because code's a language too, and spot patterns, make connections, with much less upfront preparation than older methods needed. It can help organize data, refine it, enrich it, make sense of info from different legacy systems that use different formats or names for things, understand data that's scattered all over the place. That ability alone saves a huge amount of time and effort, but to get quality, trusted data, you still need solid governance. 3 critical things. First, basic quality. Good old-fashioned data quality practices. Organizing data into a business glossary, which, interestingly, AI can actually help you build. Second, access policies. Clear rules. What data can the AI see? What needs to be stripped out or redacted like personal information? And third, monitoring and enforcement. You can't just set it and forget it. You have to actively watch what goes into the model, what comes out, make sure the policies are working. And manage model drift. That's when a model's performance degrades, because the real world changes. Data and AI governance, they have to be there from the very beginning, not an afterthought. Because uncertainty about data quality and model outputs, that's a huge barrier holding companies back right now.
Okay, so let's say a company gets its data house in order, puts those guardrails up. Practically speaking, how do they then use their data to customize Gen AI and get that competitive edge you mentioned?
There are 2 main ways people do this right now. First is by tuning the model. This means you take a pre-trained model and you partially retrain it using good examples from your specific business data. The model learns pretty quickly from these examples. It adapts, picks up your company's unique language, structure, know-how, becomes tailored to you. The second method is called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RE. RAG doesn't actually change the underlying model. Instead, it connects the model to a trusted knowledge base, your quality enterprise data. When a question comes in, RE retrieves relevant information from your knowledge base and provides it to the model as context. This helps improve accuracy and, crucially, limits the model's responses to known facts from your data. That's really important for reducing those hallucinations where the AI just confidently makes stuff up. Think of your data setup, maybe an open data lakehouse architecture like having a really well-organized commercial kitchen or a well-stocked pantry. Instead of ingredients scattered everywhere, hard to find, maybe going bad, you have everything organized. This approach combines the flexibility and cost-effectiveness of data lakes with the performance of data warehouses. Best of both worlds. It ensures optimal price performance, makes things interoperable so your AI models always have the freshest, best ingredients ready to go.
Right, the pantry needs to be stocked and organized before the chef can cook. Oh, okay. With that foundation laid, the tech, the data, the infrastructure, let's get into the real-world impact. How is generative AI really changing specific business functions today? Give us some concrete examples from the sources.
Okay, let's start with marketing. Gen AI is basically unleashing all these advanced creative tools, generating marketing blogs, web banners, posters, even just brainstorming ideas. It can automate what they call the content supply chain. Like take one ad concept and adapt it into 16 languages in 5 different formats, push it through production way faster. This frees up marketers from the repetitive stuff to focus on strategy, on real creativity, and it enables true personalization at scale. Because it can create and customize content so fast, you could do genuine microsegmentation, near real-time, super relevant messages for individuals. Imagine a movie theater chain responding to Stephanie's complaint about a broken projector. Not just a generic email, but a personalized apology, offering a free ticket to a movie based on her viewing history, almost instantly. That's powerful. Then in HR, it's really amplifying what HR professionals can do by automating repetitive tasks. Recruiters don't have to manually sift through hundreds of resumes anymore. AI can help draft better job descriptions, schedule interviews across tricky calendars, even draft initial offer letters, shortens hiring time significantly. And for current employees, AI can create personalized learning content based on their skills, their career goals. Curated learning paths that actually boost engagement, help with retention. We're even seeing things like AI-powered compensation advisors that help map bonuses to performance using real-time market data and coach managers. But, and this is a crucial but in HR, you need strong guardrails against bias. AI can scale existing biases if the training data is skewed. We saw that cautionary tale, right? An AI recruiting tool that only recommended men for certain tech roles because of historical hiring data. It's a stark reminder, AI is an assistant, not a seasoned expert. Human oversight, careful monitoring, absolutely essential, especially here. Customer service, another huge area. Gen AI makes chatbots and virtual agents feel much more natural, more conversational, more resilient, too. They can generate dialogue flows just from plain English descriptions, making self-service much richer for customers. It also massively helps human agents. Think about knowledge retrieval, getting the right answer quickly while the customer's waiting. AI can summarize relevant info instantly, cut down hold times. Automated email responses are getting much better. Field service technicians can use it for troubleshooting out in the field. And for the contact center managers. Gen AI can analyze call transcripts, find the root cause of common complaints, automate the tedious after-call work summaries for agents, improves consistency, boosts productivity. A really fantastic real-world example here is the work IBM's done with the U.S. Veterans Affairs since 2019, using AI to process millions of documents, over 125,000 claims much faster, significantly cutting wait times for veterans to get their benefits. That's real impact. And finally, let's touch on application modernization. IT departments are dealing with complex, often old systems, plus a shortage of skilled developers. Gen AI helps tackle this complexity. It plays a role in two main phases. In the advisory phase, it can analyze poorly documented legacy code, figure out what needs changing, even generate documentation. This can shrink weeks of work down to days. Then in the planning phase, it can help reverse engineer business logic, generate new code from natural language prompts, or even automatically translate old code to modern languages. Some sources cite success rates around 85% for auto-translation in certain cases. Modernization isn't a one-time project. It's ongoing. Gen AI just helps teams learn and adapt faster. Looking ahead, you can even imagine applications that might eventually become self-healing or self-evolving.
Wow. That's just a staggering range of applications. It really is touching every corner of the business. But with that kind of power, that kind of reach, we absolutely have to talk about trust, responsible implementation. Given everything we've discussed, how are organizations navigating this? It seems incredibly important.
It's paramount.
Yeah.
Think of AI as a kind of consequence multiplier.
Right.
As AI scales across your business, any risks that are problems get multiplied too. So you need institutional-level AI governance, AI ethics. It's not optional. And Gen AI introduces some specific new risks we need to watch out for. Hallucinations, for one. We've all seen examples, right? A chatbot confidently making up facts, maybe about someone's achievements when they didn't happen. There's also the risk of leaking private information if not handled carefully. Issues around copyright infringement, if a model generates something too close to existing work. And, as we mentioned with HR, those existing issues like bias. They can get amplified significantly if you're not proactively managing them. So when we talk about trust in AI, it's not just about whether it's accurate, it's multidimensional. Yes, quality, accuracy, performance, that's the starting point, but also reliability, robustness, will it work consistently, even with unexpected inputs. Fairness is huge, especially avoiding stereotypes, toxicity. Transparency is vital. We need to open up the black box. I like the analogy of an open concept kitchen in a restaurant. You want to be able to see the ingredients, the data source, understand how it's processed, see the testing, the auditing. That builds confidence. And finally, human understanding. Can we actually explain why the AI made a certain decision or generated a particular output?
Okay, so with all those complex considerations and things moving so fast, what does the regulatory landscape look like? Is it still the Wild West out there, or are rules starting to emerge?
Oh, regulation is definitely here. It's either in specific AI laws or it's being addressed under existing laws. Companies are already accountable. Using AI isn't some kind of shield against liability. Right now, we're seeing sort of two competing philosophies about how to regulate. One idea is to regulate the fundamental technology itself, maybe through licensing, but that's tricky. It could stifle innovation, lead to market consolidation, and it's hard to keep up when the tech changes so fast. The other approach, which IBM and many others tend to support, is regulating the use of the technology, not the tech itself. So focus on the outcomes, the specific application, the context. Is it being used fairly, safely, transparently? The EU AI Act is probably the best example of this risk-based approach right now, and it's likely going to influence regulations globally. It categorizes AI uses by risk level, unregulated, limited risk, prohibited, high risk. For those high-risk applications, it sets clear requirements, transparency about purpose and bias, human oversight, the human-in-the-loop idea, strong demands for data quality and fairness, checking provenance, bias, copyright, and real accountability, including potentially large fines for noncompliance. Much like GDPR did for data privacy, the EU AI Act is expected to set a global standard.
Right. So beyond just meeting those regulations, ticking the compliance boxes, what can companies do proactively to really build that trust, to show good corporate character in how they use AI?
Yeah, it's definitely about more than just compliance. It's about demonstrating good corporate citizenship, embedding ethics into your culture. One practical step we often recommend is establishing an AI ethics board or some similar governing body. This needs to be a diverse group, different backgrounds, different expertise, ensuring decisions about AI aren't made in a vacuum, but through open discussion and debate. The goal is to weave an ethics framework right into your day-to-day corporate practices, fostering a genuine culture of trustworthy AI across the whole organization.
And where does open source technology fit into this picture? Building that ethical, transparent future for AI feels like it would be important.
It's hugely important, yeah. Open source offers inherently better transparency. Anyone can look at the code. It often leads to better security because you have more eyes finding and fixing bugs and vulnerabilities, and it promotes broad project oversight. When you have a diverse community of vendors, users, academics all contributing, the direction of the technology is less likely to be controlled by just a few dominant players. It helps democratize AI. Places like Hugging Face, with hundreds of thousands of open source models available, that's a sign of a really vibrant collaborative ecosystem working towards that.
Okay, as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty amazing, actually, how much ground we've covered. From the origins, that shift to foundation models, through all those applications, marketing, HR, customer service, modernizing code, and then landing on these really critical ethical frameworks and governance, it's a huge landscape.
It really is. And I think it's important to remember AI's impact isn't just digital. It stretches into the physical world, too. There's immense potential here to help solve some of our biggest global challenges, social, medical, environmental. It's a powerful new tool, genuinely, to help us do things better. So as you, the listener, embark on your own AI journey, maybe 4 key pieces of advice to keep in mind. 1, protect your data. It really is going to be your unique competitive advantage. 2, embrace transparency and trust. Make sure you can understand and explain how your AI works. 3, implement ethically. Train models on legally accessed, quality data. Actively manage bias and toxicity. And 4, empower yourself. Don't just be a passive observer. Take control of your AI destiny with the right platforms, the right processes.
Yeah, the capabilities of generative AI, they feel like they've finally caught up to the decades of hype. The opportunities really are extraordinary, and you don't have to wait for everything to be perfectly figured out. The time to start planning, to start building your AI transformation practice is really right now. Whether you do it internally or find a trusted partner to help, getting active in this space, that's going to be a massive competitive differentiator. It really is time to become an AI value creator.